Hello there, welcome to a double bill of quiz night with me, Libralia. This is going to be a sort of 2 episodes in one job, I'm going to let you know. And on this episode of quiz night, we're going to be taking a look at pretty much the devil and the angel of quizzes. Now, don't get me wrong, the devil has actually quite a good format. I'm going to be honest, about the format is actually quite good. It's quite a competitive format. But my goodness, if I've ever seen such an arsehole of a presenter, you're going to see one now, is all I'm going to say. Just brace yourself to let your rage out on the Skype, because he's absolutely terrible. He's one of the worst I've ever seen. It's absolutely despicable. I'm going to have to be honest. It's so bad, I actually wish I took the quiz. And don't know how I would be as a presenter. I'm normally, quite light-hearted, quite sort of jokey, quite sort of fun to be with, but sort of like, focused on my, on what I do. So I might be quite a good quiz presenter, I don't know. But for goodness sakes, anyone but this guy is all I can say. I don't even know his name, and I don't really care about his name, to be honest. Now, I found this quiz on last night at the same time as I found the second quiz that we're going to be looking at tonight. And I'll be honest, I'm definitely going to probably collect a few more episodes of the second one, because the second quiz is much better. I like the second quiz a lot more. I like watching it a lot more, to be honest. Even though sometimes it gets some rather slightly snobby contestants, shall I say, on it. The quiz itself's fine, and the presenter is actually quite good on this one. Okay, we're going to now dive into this fire pit of a quiz. What? Yeah. I'm a bit rusty with the old OBS. Oh boy. It doesn't want to show itself. Come down here, you little shit. I don't want to use strong language in my videos, I'm sorry. Okay, so here it is. Here is Rebound, and I'm actually going to do you all a favour here. I'm going to turn my voice up and his voice down. Because I don't really think you're going to want to hear him, to be quite honest. Okay, so the quiz itself's got, quite a regular format, I would say, to it. It's got basically a format where basically you are almost like playing tennis with this rebound bar. As you answer questions, the bar goes one way, and there's actually a game like it in another quiz called Pressure Pad. Pressure Pad's got a much nicer presenter, by the way. But you are about to see one of the biggest arseholes I have ever seen on TV in action, because I was like, what? This makes Anne Robinson look polite. I'm going to be quite honest. I actually really dislike this one. I actually quite like Anne Robinson, which is weird, because Anne Robinson's always like critics for being like critics on the weakest link. Mind you, I've got one episode where she actually breaks, shall I say. She's laughing at the end of it, which is quite fun to see. So it shows this is all just an act with her. With him, I don't actually think it's an act. He looks like a narcissist. He really does look like one. So, I'm probably not going to be staying very long in this quiz, but I just want you to basically see how it works. So you can see the format is like tricky, but could be okay with a decent presenter. It's like, it's sort of like our competition, all everyone puts in their answers, BBAACC, and then after that, Skip tells them whether it's correct or incorrect. But it's the way he tells them. I mean, he talks to some of them like they're completely stupid. And I know some of you might argue and say, Anne Robinson did that as well. Anne Robinson has a charm about her compared to this guy. I'm going to be honest. And you won't hear me saying that very often. But this is actually the worst presenter I've ever seen. It's even worse than the one on the ejector seat. The one on the ejector seat, it's just a bit plain. And it's just a bit angry, I think. But he's not actually nasty. This guy's quite nasty. We could just pose the question why ITV thought this was a good idea. But from what I understand about ITV, it's not a very well-run channel. So, question of the night is going to be, who would you have present this? Out of presenters that you know, who would you choose to present Rebound? Since the format is good, we just need a new presenter. Would you have maybe Chris Tarrant from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I can see Chris Tarrant doing quite a good job with it. Bradley Walsh, I think, could enjoy this because this looks a bit like The Chase in the look of the studio and that. I think Bradley Walsh will quite enjoy it. Would you have maybe I mean, I don't obviously know if all of these are alive any longer. That's what's quite sad. So I'm just going to throw some names out there, and there might be a few of them that can't obviously do it. Like, I don't even know if poor Roy Walker's still alive. But this does have a slight catchphrase vibe about it as well, in the studio look. Would you maybe have one of the more unusual presenters, like John McEnroe, who actually did an okay job with the chair. Or Rhona Cameron from Russian Roulette. Or maybe actually give her a credit this time, Kay Adams from The People Versus. And I think that was a shame. I've just discovered all the... but never give her a credit. And it's a bit of a shame, like, she's not a terrible presenter. Or maybe Kirsty Young from the first series. I personally quite like them too. They're better than this arsehole, and that's absolutely for sure. Or I'm just trying to think of any others. Like I said, I might mention a few that are no longer there, so I'm sorry if I do that. Paul O'Grady, Lily Savage from Blankety Blank. I know Bon Bunkhouse isn't about anymore. I don't know if Jim Davidson's still about or whether he's now unpopular. I know Philip Schofield's been kicked off the air. Which is a shame because he could have done this better. I mean, he done The Cube pretty well. And Wingy Lines. I'd even have Simon Mayo on this, and I'm not even a fan of him. Or the other guy, Eamon Holmes. He was quite good. What was the one he presented? It was a Jet Set. Jet Set? Yeah, I forgot Jet Set he presented. I don't think he done 1 to 100, did he, as well? Yeah. I don't know, I might be getting my wires crossed there. So many different quizzes. But yeah. So I think we can absolutely agree that the presenter is the biggest flaw on this show. Some people seem to think this format is really bad. I'm not sure whether I can completely agree that the format is as bad as the presenter. I don't think it is. I think the presenter lets this whole thing down, to be quite honest, and that's my honest opinion. I would quite happily watch this format with a different presenter. It's quite competitional, but you need someone who's got a bit more fun, to them, to present it. Someone a little bit more wacky to take a little bit of the attention. You could say the attention out the air and then sort of put it back on at the same time. It's some funny way he does that. I mean, that's almost like what Lily Savage did in Blankety Blank. She would sort of pile attention on. There was still tension, not gonna lie, but then she would sort of relieve it by doing something a bit silly. And that sort of presenter like well, I mean, he even had Les Dawson on Blankety Blank, and I thought that was a really interesting one, since he's like a comedy actor. You can tell I've watched a lot of challenge. That's because my granny was a challenge fanatic. So I like to think I'm doing this series a little bit in her honour. Really do. But she just loved quizzes. I've been no good at that. It is like tennis though, if you look at the way they rebound the bar to each other. And there is a game a bit like that, like I said, in pressure pad. Quite a lot slower. Not gonna lie, pressure pad's not as fast as rebound. Rebound's almost like a screensaver. But, like I said, format, in my eyes, it's okay. It's a good format. It's just the presenter is really bad. And who would you have to replace him? That's my question. Okay, I'm going to go back to the quiz screen. We're going to take a look at the other quiz. I think you've heard more than enough from him. Okay, just let me load the other one in. Now, this one, like I said, I've watched several episodes of it now. And I've quite enjoyed it. I've quite enjoyed this one. This is not the sort of quiz where, you know, I think the presenter's bad or I think, you know, it's done badly or anything like that. Not like that other one, where the presenter is just like horror to everyone. I don't even know who that presenter is. I've never even seen him on anything. He looks like something out of like a... I'm not even going to go into it. Okay. Here we go. We're going to go into quiz number 2. Once again. Why doesn't stupid OBS just do all the screens the same? OBS has got some faults in it. Okay, here we are. Now this presenter isn't exactly sunshine, I'm going to have to be honest, but he's a lot better than that other one. I'm absolutely not going to lie. I can definitely listen to this guy and quite happily watch him present this show. Some people have really give this one a hard time, I'm going to have to say. And I've got to say it's probably better than Rebound. Even with the format of Rebound. Now that presenter, I mean, I don't know who that is. That presenter was to present Rebound. That could be interesting. Another one that would be interesting as well is the presenter from a show called Hardball. We'll be taking a look at that one at some point. I really like Hardball. I find the music of it really quite relaxing. There's quite a few quiz shows like that. So it's supposed to be this is football referee guy, and he announces all the different games and keeps things, you know, keeps fair play. Mind you, this game is quite fun competition though, like, because they can knock each other sliders left, right and centre if they want to, in most of the games. So, is that really fair play? But that's where I think the fun part comes into it. I think it'd be fun to do that, I think. Now, I've actually been curling before. This is almost like a miniature version of curling. But obviously it's on a table rather than on big ice rink. One thing that's quite funny about the show is that literally when they end up getting frozen out, which is like the name of the whole show, it's he says you're frozen out, and there's not even like a special effect of them getting frozen out or anything like that. They don't even walk off. We literally just have the sound of ice cracking that you hear throughout the show. So, a bit like ejector seat, we could have done with making that exit a little bit more dynamic. But the format on this isn't bad at all. It's good fun to watch. So he says slide on. He says slide on a lot, I'll let you know, in this show. I think I should become that presenter's catchphrase. But This is definitely another one that I've grown to like. So I'm not going to say anything really against this one. Rebound could be better with a better presenter. I think it could be. But some of you don't really like this format at all. I don't personally think it's the worst format I've ever seen. I think it just needs a much better presenter. The presenter really lets it down. Worse than ejector seat. But I did get quite cheered up, I have to say, when I saw this one. Because I thought to myself, this one looks quite good fun. And he has a bit of a laugh with him, this presenter. He's quite, he seems quite pleasant. He doesn't like really insult their talents or anything, he just like, you know. Maybe it's like, he makes it maybe like little comments, but he doesn't make like really. I would argue some of the other guys' comments are quite hurtful. Okay. Goodbye, my friend.